And well, on that note of support coming in from for Team Anna, it's over to the big question now with Sanjay.
All right, America N.V. Narayanan from the Congress Party, Dr. Tamilisai Soundarajan from the BJP of Tamil Nadu, and Sridhar Chandrasekhar, who represents civil society from the India Against Corruption movement. Mr. Narayanan, to you first, sir. Yep. These people were not armed. They're not damaging public property. They're not stoning buses. They're not stoning shops. Gathering together with for a non-violent struggle for a good cause. And there's a groundswell of public opinion. Look at the millions of tweets in his favor. Anna Hazare has done what politicians like you have not been able to do for several decades. This Lokpal bill has been hanging fire, sir, has been gathering dust since 1972. Why crack down on him in this manner?
First thing is, let me say, I also want corruption to get the hell out of this country. I am, as an individual, and we, as a party, want the corruption to get the hell out of this society.
Why you at loggerheads with Anna Hazare then?
Well, that's a question we ask him, because we did talk to him. We heard him. Our ministers heard him. A civil society, quote unquote, supposedly should act in a civil way. Now, how does a civil society interact? I talk to you, you talk to me, both of us listen to each other, come to some common agreement.
He did that and he set a deadline of August 15th.
Exactly. First thing is, he did that, but he said, my way or highway. That's not the right way for a civil society to be led.
Let me ask the civil person representing civil society, Sridhar Chandrasekhar. Jesus once said, he who has not sinned, pick up the first stone. I put it to you, Sridhar Chandrasekhar. He who has not ever paid a bribe, pick up the first placard. Put your hand across your heart and tell me, have you paid a bribe or not at some point in your life?
Willingly, I have not paid a bribe.
Willingly.
Well,
interesting.
There are several people, Sridhar, who will gather for protests outside Memorial Hall, and after the protest is over, will walk down to Chennai Central Station, bribe a TT and get a ticket.
I am aware of that. Willingly, I would not do that. So, do you want me to?
Yes, please.
Explore why willingly. Unwillingly, you are twisted, you pay the bribe. And is that right? Is the question.
There are situations where you are not in control, right? So,
no, fair enough. Answer the specific question,
yeah. I've answered it. So, now the point is about this whole thing, right? Now, we talked about a discussion between the government and the Hazare. And you talked about who were, from Anna Hazare perspective, things have been very clear. There has been no dilly-dallying. It's been always the same agenda that we need to enact this Jan Lokpal bill, which is not just one man's idea. It is an idea of a bunch of people across the section, the cross section of the society, from legal experts. It doesn't have to be. Manmohan Singh never got elected, right? He's
Mr. Narayan, you're talking about elections. Let me tell you, in Tamil Nadu, let's not go very far. The first time MLA ticket seekers, what was the expenditure limit? 16 lakh rupees. What was the amount most of them are willing to pay, cough up to spend on elections? During the interviews, they all said that they would pay up to 3 crore rupees.
Absolutely.
More than 18 times the sanctioned limit. Right.
Gentlemen, I am not defending.
This is what we have.
No, please
it's not the beer party, the gin party.
The only one question to you is, I think we are getting on a tangent, but I'll answer that.
No, because not tangent. You can who elected them.
One wrong.
What choice do we have?
I accept that that's wrong. We should change that. So there's no debate at all on that. Now, but my question to you and to all the people who so-called civil society, who has given them the sole right? I'm not saying they are not part of civil society.
If
Wait, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. Mehta Patkar. Is she not? Maybe she's representing the poor. They are not part of civil society. Maybe they think they are not. She's not civil.
You cannot castigate civil society like this. You politicians
I'm asking you a question. I didn't castigate. Please, I just have, give me 1 second. Please understand, I said they are civil society. I didn't dispute that.
No.
But they are not the sole representative of civil society. Do you say, or does he say, they are the sole representative?
No. We're not saying that at all.
That's my
What
case.
we are saying is people gathering peacefully.
Mehta Patkar disagrees with you.
People are gathering
Do you
peacefully.
say that she's not part of
She
civil
cannot be
society?
representative.
Yes.
One thing I'm telling,
Yes,
he
ma'am.
said civil society should act in a civil way. How the government should act? Government should act in more civil way.
Absolutely.
So no. But
I agree.
as he said correctly, they didn't have any weapons. They didn't have any weapons. Politely, they wanted to show their.
They wanted to do
satyagraha. Satyagraha.
Let
Then the Prime Minister is telling with satyagraha, with fasting, corruption cannot be ended. The achievement of this government is corruption and anti-corruption in same Tihar.
Not
This
only
is
that.
the achievement of this
Ma'am,
government.
I want to
And you
quote.
asked about
Yediyurappa.
corruption.
Let's talk about
No,
Yediyurappa.
you have Yediyurappa. We have dropped him. We have dropped
I
him
don't represent,
immediately when we
but
had
no,
the
but
minister
dropped
dropped
after-
him.
Dropped him and then you have ma'am, you have dropped him. No, you have dropped him after a long struggle, after many demands, and now you have a Yedi made. Now you have a Yedi made CM. No, ma'am, you asked about a Yedi.
Let me as a neutral person come in.
No, one second. I'm also a neutral person. No.
6.5
Ma'am,
years of
Yediyurappa.
BJP government. Tell me a single corruption. In
What is the
6.5
minus?
years
What does Santosh
of
Agre say?
BJP
What does the
government.
Lokayukta say, ma'am?
Let's talk about
what does Lokayukta say?
This is becoming a Congress versus BJP.
No, it's not. No,
But the
coffin
corruption,
issue.
as you said, the corruption, there is one person in India is telling, I received a bribe, I was caught, I gave that same bribe as bribe and I was released. That's the message.
Today, in
each and
fact,
every
Mr. Narayanan,
person-
before you,
shame.
Yeah,
Mr.
it's
Narayanan,
a shame in Congress.
today, in fact, a press release from the Chennai chapter of the India Against Corruption movement said there was a policeman who asked for a bribe near the venue of 300 rupees, and then when he saw the movement, he saw the placards, he accepted a fine of 50 rupees, gave a receipt.
Right.
This is what's happening on the ground.
Right.
Now, ma'am, to ask you, you said Yediyurappa, yes, after a long struggle, despite many demands, he clung on to his post. And after that also, you've got literally a Yedi-made CM there who's supposed to be a nominee of Yediyurappa. But that let's not digress. I want to ask you.
It's
important
I want to
that
ask
we
you.
don't get into the
The
polemic
finance
on,
minister,
yeah.
Pranab Mukherjee said, and I quote, "The Constitution bestows power on Parliament and state assemblies to legislate. If 5,000 or 10,000 or 25,000 people gather outside a place and then dictate what Parliament should do, does that work in favor of democracy or against democracy?"
what
Yes,
happens-
ma'am. Answer the question. Yes,
No,
ma'am.
actually, that's the right for protest is there in India. It's a democratic country. The
Home
government
Minister says
cannot.
not any way, not in any manner that you want, not in any place that you want. There are rules, there are reasonable
No,
restrictions.
they asked rules, they asked permission from the police and the police
course, we
cannot,
gave it. The
government
permission
cannot
was not
demand only
granted.
5,000 people. They cannot count each and every head, then only 5,000.
somebody is hurt,
Rest of you go.
who is responsible
50
for
cars
it?
to be parked, 50 motorcycles to be parked. Are we in a democratic country?
No,
this
this
is worse than the emergency period, worse than the British
wait,
rule.
wait,
example of
Worse than
China.
the British rule, I am telling.
No, no,
Because they want to
This doesn't
protest
remind you of
in a
British rule.
peaceful way.
You mean to
They
say
want to count
Karnataka
everybody.
or other BJP states, anybody can go and sit anywhere and sit to make a protest?
No.
There
No,
is a
there
place for
is
the
no,
protest.
because
There's
the
a methodology for protest.
corruption is the government is immersing in corruption. So the people want to get rid of it.
So you are saying that the government is insecure and therefore to see this,
if
the
they
groundswell
talk
of public
about,
opinion.
if they talk about corruption, Congress, they think they are talking about themselves.
Right. Are you
so corruption
actually-
and Congress are equated.
Are you actually standing by the sidelines and laughing because now Nitin Gadkari, your president, says that if Anna Hazare invites us, we'll also join. So are you being opportunistic in a sense here?
No,
Why did
not
you start this?
opportunity, because we were supporting.
BJP's track record also is well known.
And we are for anti-corruption. I joined the protest today.
Okay.
As an individual, I joined the protest. Today, BJP has halted
Narayanan,
the
did you also
parliament.
join the protest? Did you also go there?
I went there this
BJP
morning.
has halted the parliament.
I went there this morning. I requested also.
How much money is lost when you halt parliament, ma'am? How much money is lost? Taxpayers' money for every abstention, for every walkout, for every boycott.
Sanjay,
We want to have
one
some judgment. You have to take some force.
Sanjay, you
Yeah,
asked me a question.
yes.
Let me answer that. I went there this morning. I wanted to talk to them. They said, no, you cannot talk. I said, I am against corruption. I want to talk to you. They said, no, you cannot talk. That's the civil
Sir,
society.
we want to see the action from the Congress party against corruption. Now, let me ask you, I am not a Congress or a BJP or a Communist Party supporter. Today, what is happening is, in this country, there are people, youngsters, old people, people who have left their profession and come to the streets, running around with, Vande Mataram and Jai Hind. There is almost like a second freedom struggle kind of feeling. How is it there? There is a deep feeling among the people.
Oversimplification in a sense?
No, I am saying that, when I see that.
Are you playing to the gallery, Sridhar? Let me ask you a
I am
frank
saying
question.
this, Anna has been able to
galvanize public opinion and support. No
opinion.
doubt,
I
grant him
accept
that.
that.
Why is the government
represented as each and every individual?
I want to ask
Indian
Sridhar,
society?
I want to ask Sridhar a frank question. Sridhar, no offense meant. Full respect to all those. I'm sure most of them are well-meaning people. But if I remove the TV cameras, if we remove the television cameras and the photographers, how many people will be sitting there?
I would imagine people like me or people, the conscientious citizens of India.
You're also
would
here in
still
a TV studio.
Would still be sitting.
You're also here in a
That's
TV
okay. That's
studio.
because
No, just say.
I think forget the TV. I think the children, the youngsters who come there, I don't think they know much about TV, honestly.
Do they know much about the issue?
I think there is a
They know about the issue.
It's a spontaneous response of the people, I think.
I want to ask
Rahul
you.
is going a sudden visit to UP with cameras only. A surprise visit to UP with cameras
The
only.
point is they cannot do, they envy, they just kind of.
Let me ask you this, why is the government, from what I'm hearing from Sanjay just now, because I was driving, and I hear that, they are already retracting their decision to, release Anna. If it is right, whatever logic they gave, I heard Kapil Sibal and P. Chidambaram sitting and giving the explanation, anybody breaking the law will be arrested. And what law, now, did he break or unbreak, that he is released? They have just been scared by the public.
Let me answer that. First thing is, if he is a disturbance to the public, he causes disturbance to the society, he has to be arrested. The government, wait, now listen to me. I have the floor, please listen to me. Then, however, the government also has a right to release them. Now, he did, because he is a man who represents, he's not going to run away. He's only a preventive arrest so that he does not cause disturbance to the
scared of the public outcry?
Preventive arrest for what?
Was the government scared of the public outcry?
The government is for public rights. Government will listen to people, and that's why they listen to Anna Hazare. Anna Hazare is refusing to listen to the other voices. He says, I am, quote unquote, the sole representative of civil society. People like Mehta Bhatia and other people refuse. I refuse to accept Anna Hazare as a sole.
No, let us not. I acknowledge
He's not even claiming that.
Saying that anybody causing a disturbance
He's not
will be
even
arrested.
claiming
If that is the case, why are they releasing him now? He will cause a disturbance tomorrow.
Well, if he does, he will be arrested again.
So how many times will you keep doing it?
However many times you cause a disturbance to the public, and let's say
How many times the politicians caused?
Wait a minute. I go and stay and wait. Hold it, madam.
How many times the
If I
politicians?
go and stay in the middle of the street, people will arrest me. They will release me. If I go and stand there again, they will arrest me. That's the right thing to do. That's what the government will do.
Politicians, how many political rallies in this country, I put it to both of you, how many political rallies and demonstrations in this country have been non-violent? Anna Hazare's movement has so far been non-violent.
Absolutely.
We hope it will continue to be non-violent. But we do want to prevent any violence that could come, and then will be. For example, what happened to Ramdev?
Another thing, he has written a letter to the highest authority of India, Prime Minister. Prime Minister says he cannot write a letter to him. What is this? Because he is telling he is causing disturbance to the public, but he.
The Prime Minister has replied. The Prime Minister has replied. You're also, you're no less, your decibels are no less anyway.
No, the
Mr.
point
Narayan, I want to ask you.
Let's say you have 5,000 people. In that place, 50,000 people come. Violence need not be a physical violence. Look at the civic thing that we need to provide them.
They are scared.
No, let me ask you this. Let me ask you
They
this.
expect 50,000
Narayan,
and
I want to ask you,
people.
I want to ask you again a pointed question which I asked you.
There is a right to dissent, but in a way that is acceptable.
So who lays the way? Who says this?
Your right stop with my nose.
No,
okay?
my
right stop with your nose.
He never asked for anybody's
Please
nose.
understand
He asked for a
Mr. Narayan,
public
the AG
place.
Gardner principle, yes, we understand the AG Gardner principle.
I'm
The rule
happy
of the
you
road,
do, but
the
the
rule of the
so-called
road.
civil rights
Let me ask you,
people,
you spoke, let me talk about black money. One of the demands here, black money. Why is the government so reluctant to bring back the black money stashed away abroad in all those Swiss banks? The government goes on record and tells the Supreme Court, look, this is judicial. When the Supreme Court says form a special investigation team, bring back the black money, take steps. The Supreme Court, if the Supreme Court had not been monitoring the 2G investigation, I don't think so many people would have gone to jail.
Absolutely.
Now,
absolutely,
the Supreme Court is the last. I have not finished my question. I have not finished my question.
Okay.
The government has told the Supreme Court it's a case of judicial overreach, and it goes against the doctrine of separation of powers. But when someone is going to, sit peacefully in a protest, go on a fast, why is the government pressing the panic button and overreacting?
It took 20 minutes for them
now,
to
do you want me to answer?
Yes, I want you to answer.
The first question is, I think I salute the Supreme Court, and I think it is doing good things to society. However, please give, but for Sonia Gandhi's pressure, the Right to Information Act would not have come, which would not have exposed all this corruption. Please understand that. Give the credit where it is due. You can laugh at it.
Admitting
Sridhar, I thought you are a neutral person. You look into my eyes and tell me, did RTI make a difference in the corruption, fight against corruption?
RTI or no RTI?
No, my question to you is
sensitive departments like vigilance
did
and
RTI make a decision?
It's so much of corruption.
Ma'am, please,
They're asking about
let
the
me ask the
corruption.
question.
Right to ask
I'm
about the
asking him
corruption.
a
What
question.
is
Please
the
let him
credit
answer
you
it.
want? What is the
Let him
credit
answer
you
the
want?
question.
I'm asking in corruption.
Right to
Mr. Narayan,
information
Mr. Narayan.
act.
All I
Did
can
it make
say
a difference for corruption against in this country?
RTI or no RTI, the scams are so monumental that they had to come out.
Okay, I want to ask another question.
Give a credit to Right to
Mr. Narayan,
Information
Mr. Narayan, another question. RTI keeps out of its ambit sensitive departments like vigilance and anti-corruption. So what are we talking about RTI as a tool to fight corruption? To a large extent, yes, RTI is a path-breaking legislation. Grant you that. There's no doubt about that. RTI activists are doing a splendid
If you were
job.
to go
But
for
I'm
whistleblowers.
I can understand BJP saying that. Sridhar is not giving due credit. He's probably as biased as anybody
I'll
else.
tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Please,
no, let me
We are saying
let me answer this. I'll tell you.
No, why don't you introduce it as a private bill now?
No,
Anna Hazare's bill, if you support
please,
it.
Mr. Narayan.
Why don't BJP?
Let me answer this
I'm asking.
question.
Okay, you answer that, yeah.
I would not have been like this, but for the fact that when somebody is talking about corruption, it seems to prick only the Congress guys
Yeah,
for
that's
some
what
reason.
I'm
Why?
telling you.
So
See,
let me
see,
ask
Congress.
you, now Anna
This
Hazare, when he
corruption
started
is
this
Let me- can I
fasting,
answer that,
Answer,
please?
no, let me complete this.
Okay. Okay.
Anna Hazare started this fasting. And finally it all ended when the government made an offer saying that let's discuss. And when the discussions were proceeding, everybody could see that the government was stopping halfway and saying that this is not covered, this is not covered, this is not. So Anna made his point very clear. This way is not going to be working.
Absolutely. My
So
way
I'm
or
going to
no
go for a
way.
fast.
Right.
Now, when finally he says that I'm going to go for a peaceful satyagraha, I mean, he is a Gandhian. He has been given a Padma Bhushan and he has done a lot of things before. I mean, he's not a nobody. Okay. Now, when he is doing a satyagraha, political parties can conduct rallies, but not a person like Anna Hazare. Why? What?
Okay.
So now,
Can
when
I
he,
answer that,
No,
please?
let me
You
complete
finish
this.
up, otherwise I
Now,
can answer.
what did they do? They conducted a slander campaign. I'll tell you what changed my mind. The last 4-5 days, when I keep seeing this Congress spokespersons coming and attacking on a personal basis somebody like Anna Hazare, the accusations didn't stick. On the contrary, it came and slapped the Congress back in the face. You can do a poll among the normal people of India. Everybody felt bad that they went on a slander
All right.
campaign.
Mr. Narayan, answer that. Okay.
Okay, first
Yeah.
question.
That's what turned me against
Okay.
Congress.
Yeah, okay.
I'm glad you brought that up. I think you have a right point. It is not the Congress which said that. I think it's Judge Savan who has convicted, because I was not going to bring today.
You mean Judge
Please,
Savan
no.
came in?
When you talked, I did not interrupt.
Go ahead.
A civil society person should let the other person talk.
Please.
Good. Now, when we did not say that, it's Judge Savan who said Anna Hazare has taken close to 2 lakhs of public money to spend on his birthday. He called it quote unquote corrupt. So I was not going to bring it, but you brought it, so I have to clarify that. Congress did not say that. They just brought in something what an independent Judge Swan said about that. Okay? So let's leave that.
That's not true. The Congress spokesperson.
Wait, what do you mean? You go and fight it out with Judge Swan. Don't say Congress.
I saw the Congress spokesperson.
Who said that?
Let me
Congress
ask
or
the
Judge
BJP
Swan?
as well, ma'am. Let me also ask you.
I hope you answer the
Since
question.
we are all talking about Gandhian ideals and Gandhian philosophy and Gandhian modes of protest, when Mahatma Gandhi suffered from malaria and the doctor advised him to use a mosquito net, he refused to use the mosquito net, in fact rubbed a few drops of kerosene oil in his face and went to bed, saying that when there are thousands and millions of my brethren in the country who cannot afford a mosquito net, I will not use it. Now look at the people who have been jumping onto the anti-corruption brigade, as it were, the bandwagon. Baba Ramdev. From where did the helicopter come? You have
Actually,
high-flying swamis who come there and then talk about black money.
You cannot say a rich person cannot talk about a poor person.
No,
because
but an uncorrupt person should talk about.
What about the trust?
We don't know enough about Swami Ramdev to even make a comment.
Yeah, intention. Now his house has been searched. So many corrupt ministers are there. They are freely walking in India. His house has been searched. Income tax raid has been done. What is this? Because they are targeting the people who are fighting for corruption, anti-corruption. So they think if they are talking about corruption, they are talking about Congress. So they are intolerant to that.
Madam,
okay,
first thing is I wrote an open letter to Anna Hazare saying that I support him.
You think
So
BJP,
wait a minute.
They targeted
No.
who were fighting against corruption.
I don't know why she does not listen.
Okay, fine. You answer. Answer.
First thing is, I wrote an open letter, and not this time, even the first time when he said, my heart also went for Anna Hazare. I am against corruption. To answer your question, I have refused to also pay bribes several times that I am forced to. In addition, I can look into your eyes and look into the camera and say, I have never taken bribe in my life, never will. I promise you that.
Then you should not
As
be
a
the
congressman.
The same here.
Okay, good.
But you have not been holding public office.
I don't know.
I am in public life.
But you have not been holding public office.
I am in public life.
The true test is when you hold public office.
No, I am saying
No, the true test is when you hold public office, Ms. Narayan.
So far, I have never paid even bribes.
Okay.
I appreciate that. That's nice. All I'm saying is that the way this
There
whole thing.
are politicians who are also honest. Don't paint everybody with the
Fair
same.
enough, Ms. Narayan. Do you believe?
And as a matter of fact, I welcome this because people like me in politics and a lot of congressmen, including people in power, want this thing because this kind of pressure groups.
So tell me why you didn't get a ticket. Why you didn't get a ticket to
thing,
contest
Mr.
elections? Why you didn't get a
Narayan.
ticket to contest elections?
Well, that's a different
Because
thing.
you couldn't rustle up 3 crore rupees.
No, there are various different things that goes in ticket.
all right.
Let's not talk about that.
All right.
You need to do something about your think tank, the core group which
There is something job.
No. Do you believe, what's your stand now? Do you believe the move to arrest Anna Hazare was right or wrong?
Absolutely right. Because, I'll answer that. Because, item 1, there are rules and regulations the way you should show your protest. You have a right to protest
Which
in
politicians
democracy.
follow all the time.
No, we don't. Honestly, we don't.
So with what faith?
We think you are better than us.
but the law
You
will-
want to be like us? Then why do you come
Oh,
here?
okay.
Please don't come.
Conditions.
All right.
All right.
Admission of
Okay.
guilt. Admission of
Wait,
guilt
wait.
finally.
I'm amazed by
Wait,
that. I'm amazed by
I
that
always
statement.
call
So many
mission
conditions
black
there for
as
each
black
and
and
every
kettle as
protest.
black. I don't know. Please don't talk at the same time.
Okay.
This is not.
All right. Why don't you have a glass of water here? Yeah.
Mr. Narayan,
Yeah.
only one thing.
One sip of water, yeah.
You made, your observation about not taking bribes or paying bribes is very laudable. I appreciate that. On the same token, it is amazing that you are saying this because today, I happen to hear a cross section not only among common people but experts coming on on air and saying that the arrest of Anna Hazare was actually constitutionally invalid.
So is that a disconnect between your party and the public sentiment?
Well, there's a perception people are trying to create that there's a disconnect between our party and the public sentiments. But even the last poll said if there is an election today, Congress will have a better. If we will not get majority, we will have better thing. I think these are all.
I have that
DMK
magazine.
is going to win. The poll said
Yeah,
just before the elections.
Recent survey, I have the magazine.
DMK Congress is going to win.
People
I
are
can show you
against
the. I can show you the.
I am
6%
against corruption.
drop.
We
6%
Congress is
drop
against
in the
corruption.
voting.
Not only me, Congress is against
6%
corruption.
Opinion polls
drop.
don't matter. You know that very
UPA voting pattern. 6% drop.
Opinion polls really
Yeah,
don't matter.
because-
Ma'am, I want to ask you
All I'm
that,
saying
yes,
is
since we are
that-
talking of figures here, there are notional figures. Some say they're notional figures. 1.76 lakh crore rupees spectrum scam, 400 lakh crore rupees black money. Where do you get these figures from?
Actually,
1.76 is from. It's obviously from CAG. Sorry,
Yeah,
that is.
What about-
I am a
the
certified public
committee
accountant.
has,
Please,
no,
please.
the committee has submitted.
I am a
The
chartered
committee has
accountant.
submitted. It's,
Comptroller and auditor
I am a
general.
chartered accountant.
It is not that we got it from somewhere.
Narayanan, okay, let me ask-
Authenticatedly, the committee has submitted the accounts, and
Okay.
from that only we got
All
the
right, Ms.
figure.
Narayanan, civil society, what Anna Hazare is actually fighting for? Simple. That you should have a time-bound program to prosecute people. That within the corruption case, the trial should be completed within 1 year, not go on for donkeys, years, and finally the accused also die before they are prosecuted. That you will have minimum of 5 years and maximum of life imprisonment. That you should have representatives from civil society and from the government. What is wrong with civil society and the government sitting together across the table and chalking out a bill to root out a social evil in the country that has plagued us for decades and decades? What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong about it. We welcome that. That's why we sat and talked to Anna Hazare. There is a parliamentary committee which takes suggestions and comments not only from Anna Hazare.
So from 1972, this has been happening, sir.
Absolutely
happening.
right.
Same thing is
I,
happening.
I, I
1972.
think there's a swelling of public support a bill has to be passed and it will be passed. Now, there is not a swell of public's opinion of the so-called civil society's sole representative, Anna Hazare's bill. That's where the difference is. We have already agreed on several points of Anna Hazare's recommendation. As a matter of fact, never in the history of India, private people were called in and discussed right across with the government. The government has done, and it has done under, as you rightfully said, under pressure, which is good. I welcome that. This is the kind of lobby one has to do, but within the framework of the Constitution of India.
So, if for several years that private people have not been taken into the decision-making process, blame the party that has been in power for the longest period.
No, not only that. No. This particular era, from say 2004 onwards, unfortunately or fortunately, has just been a period of the murkiest deals which have happened in our entire independent history, right?
Nobody can is it that now you have a proactive media that is coming out in the open?
2010, a year of corruption.
Yeah, so everybody knows it.
Some representative wants to
Time
come
magazine,
fight against corruption.
we are not.
Then why they are so intolerant? That as he said, sole representative. Anna Hazare is not standing alone in the street. So many people are behind
But there are a lot of people who are not there, like Mehta Patkar and Salma.
Then who gave that stamp to them? Then they are the sole representative.
But she said you are not the sole representative. That's all I'm saying. Mehta Patkar and Salma are not agreeing.
Ma'am, let me ask you.
With what Anna Hazare is saying.
Ma'am, let me ask you. We are all talking about supreme sacrifices.
Anna Hazare is the sole representative of people of India.
We are all talking about supreme sacrifices, but don't forget that there was a Sri Ramalu Potti who gave up his life on a fast for the creation of Andhra Pradesh. Don't forget, Irom Sharmila has been fasting for how many years for the repeal of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act?
We understand that, Pa. We understand. The Prime Minister is not understanding that. That's what we are telling.
Why don't you put that on the private? Why don't you ask her that question, please?
Yeah, you asked her that, yeah.
She's not responding that. If you really support Jan Lokpal bill, so-called Jan Lokpal bill, why don't you introduce that as a private bill of your party supporting it in the parliament? Please answer that.
We are supporting it. That is our Prime Minister 2001.
Mr. Turn behind, Mr. Narayanan, turn behind and see. This is a reality check for you. Look at the crowds here. Do they look? Are they politically inclined? They are common people. Look at the screen behind you for a reality check.
2001, it was Vajpayee ji.
I was one of them.
No, it was Vajpayee ji who told the Prime Minister should be included into the bill. It was Vajpayee ji told. So we were in the rule for 6.5 years. They were ruling the party for more than 60 years.
Madam has not answered my question.
So,
Madam,
did you ask for a private bill?
One direct question to you.
Yeah.
Will BJP introduce Jan Lokpal bill as its bill in the parliament? Yes or no?
Why? We have to. We will. That's what we were backing it.
Well, please listen to that.
Note it.
Let us see what happens.
Note it.
All right, noted. Point noted. And I think why don't you have a sip of water so that.
That's what I told. Vajpayee wanted himself to be included into the bill.
All right.
All
right.
All right. Let me final question to the gentleman from civil society. Chetan Bhagat once said, after the Mumbai blast and all that, when people go to light candles and placards, I'm sure 99% of the people are well-meaning, but then there's also this herd mentality that which Chetan Bhagat very sort of poetically put it. He said, "Here are my sneakers, these are my sunglasses, and this is my cause." All right. So what happened in Mumbai. After all those scandals and placards saying enough is enough, South Mumbai witnessed a voter turnout after the blast, after the terrorist attacks, of 43%. Today you have angry posts on Facebook. All these people will go and, many of these people on Facebook will go and stand, including ourselves here, will go and stand outside the American consulate for 5 hours for a visa, but will not go and stand for 20 minutes outside a polling booth to cast their vote. There is apathy.
Sanjay, can I answer this? I think I need to answer this because this is exactly what the Congress think tank hoped for when they decided to go ahead with not allowing permission. Let me complete this thought.
I didn't interrupt
they didn't.
No,
I'm just saying this because it's a very important point. I'm just collecting my thoughts.
Like you apprehended once again. Like you apprehended violence, he's apprehending interruption.
They thought that there is, we are going to stop this protest. Already the matter has been going on for the last, say, 3-4 months, and the same apathy would have come into the people's minds, and it is a stale. I mean, Indians are known for the short-term, memory or whatever, so they would have forgotten, and there is now you go ahead and arrest him. That was a think tank decision. Put him in jail for 7 days. The whole thing will cool down. People will go about their jobs. 3-day holiday. 16th is a bad choice. People will go back to work. What happened? The country erupted
16th
today.
was not the government's decision. 16th was a date.
No. They thought what a poor decision on the part of Anna Hazare.
Okay.
And even for a moment, people like us was wondering, why did he choose 16th instead of say 19th, which is a Friday, which would have helped the people to come out on the roads on Saturday, Sunday.
I just got an update that Anna Hazare, apparently, according to sources, is refusing to come out of Tihar jail.
Okay, that is very that is like him, because he's a
Why not come out and then continue the fast?
He's a Gandhian.
Why not come out and continue the fast?
See, Gandhi always did that, if you remember. Gandhi always did that, if you remember. Gandhi, his main thing was civil disobedience, right? He would whatever cause he was following in a non-violent, in a what he called a satyagraha, he will continue doing it till the issue is succeeds, not this symbolic thing. I think for Anna Hazare, it doesn't matter whether he's outside or in the jail. That is the kind of person, from whatever I've seen.
All right.
So finally, I'll complete this.
Yeah.
The short-term memory has not worked. On the contrary, the way people have erupted today tells me that this corruption issue much more, it is at the bone level, it's at the DNA level of people.
All right. So we are completely out of time. Yeah. I'll allow the panelists for one brief, 10 seconds each to each panelist, because remember, I did not interrupt this show at all with a commercial break. Yes, go ahead. Mr. Narayanan, to you first.
First, get out of political apathy. I had never been a politician. I had come back from states and getting involved, trying to do something. Sure. We want the so-called civil society to get involved in the political movement, work with the system and change the system. We welcome that. That's all we are saying.
All right, 10 seconds up. Yes, ma'am.
This government is immersing in corruption. Whenever the people talk about anti-corruption, government thinks they are talking about them. C for Congress, C for corruption. Government is totally intolerant. This another second freedom struggle is going on. We support it as BJP is for anti-corruption.
All right.
All I want to say is that when an issue of such a great national importance comes into play, I would say the people should shed their egos. They make wrong decisions, openly acknowledge we made a mistake and go back to the table. What is happening with this Congress? I am neither a Congress nor BJP. They seem to be intellectually defending wrong positions just because they can speak good English. For example, they keep coming and intellectualizing their wrong decisions and they keep going on, they get into further muddle. I say, admit your mistake and then, go forward.
You want to admit your mistake?
I admit my mistake, but I want them to also admit their mistake, saying it's my way or no way is the thing they have taken.
Today,
I hope
this
they
is
get out
people's
of it.
way.
All right. This is the way of the people. But thank you very much, Mr. Narayanan, Dr. Tamilisai Soundararajan and Sridhar. Hopefully you'll get back to that protest and fast. So no dinner for you tonight. All right. That's all the time we have for, but Ashmit Kumar will be up with a lot more news. Stay tuned.